Hi, friends. So, if you've ever tried to just let go and let God and discovered that no matter how hard you tried, your mind, your heart, and your body refused to cooperate because of being in so much pain, I want you to know something. You're not failing. Letting go when life is full of grief is not an act of willpower, it's an act of love. And most of us kind of get it wrong because we're taught that surrender is a choice, something you just decide to do. But surrendering to God's will, the will of the divine, something greater than ourselves, however you define that, really letting go, especially when our heart is broken or our future feels completely uncertain, it is not a decision, it's a practice of watching the mind attach itself to outcomes, a practice of noticing the discomfort in the body when control just dissolves. It is a practice of sitting with helplessness without shaming ourselves for being human. And it's a practice of asking the divine for help. So today, I want to walk you through how letting go actually works when you're in pain, because every one of us will face moments where surrender feels impossible. Let's begin. Hi, I'm Amy Rose White. I'm an integrative psychotherapist making videos on self-healing tools. So letting go and letting God take the wheel truly of our lives is not passive. It's not weakness. It's not spiritual bypassing. Letting go is really the courageous process of sitting with reality as it is, not as we wish it were. And here is the hardest truth. Most of the time, the pain of not letting go comes from fighting what is undeniably true. The relationship ended and it's not getting back together. The person didn't choose us. Our child is struggling. Our friend betrayed us. The diagnosis came. The loss is real. The future has shifted and the outcome is just no longer ours to shape completely. And because our minds do what our minds do. We obsess and ruminate, we negotiate, we replay conversations and scenarios, we imagine alternate realities. We try to rewrite the outcome with our thoughts alone. And we're not broken for doing this. We're actually very much wired for that. Our mind attaches because it feels unsafe. And let's be honest, when something deeply painful happens, like the death of someone dear, the end of a relationship that you treasured, a horrible betrayal, a child suffering, a financial collapse, a dream that you poured yourself into, falling apart, the mind becomes obsessive and we replay those moments and ruminate and we imagine different endings and analyze every detail. And it's normal to search for that one thing that we could have done differently. Underneath all that thinking is one core need. Please let this not be true. That's the essence of grief, really. And grief has no respect for our timeline. It refuses logic. It cannot be intellectualized. It really speaks directly to and from our hearts. And I've not ever met anyone, not myself, not my clients, not any spiritual teacher that I've studied with, who did not go through a period of mental gripping after a period of major loss, however long. It's really human, it's protective and instinctual. So if you're thinking, I should be over this by now, why can't I stop thinking about them? What's wrong with me? Why can't I surrender this? Why can't I accept the truth? Please hear me again. There is nothing wrong with you. You're grieving, and grief demands time and allowing, not force. Letting go is not something we do once, obviously. It's something we practice repeatedly with tenderness. So practice number 1, observe the mind and don't argue with it. Think of every painful thought you're having right now as a boat that's floating down a river. Your job is not to jump in the boat or paddle it upstream or sink it or decorate it with positive affirmations either. Your job is to notice it drift by. And you can even name it like, longing, fear, anger, fantasy, bargaining. Witnessing without judgment loosens that grip. Practice number 2, allowing the body's discomfort. When we can't control an outcome, the body often reacts before the mind catches up. So we get a tight chest, a collapsed stomach, a frozen jaw. Maybe we have a buzzing anxiety in our limbs, pressure around our heart, an ache behind the eyes. Letting go means allowing these sensations to exist without abandoning or judging or shaming ourselves. So we can place a hand on our chest and say, this hurts, and I'm here with you, hurt. This is how we learn to trust our own presence. Practice number 3, daily grief time. So set a timer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, write things down or speak them out loud. What is present? I want them back. I want this to be different. I want what I can't have. I feel angry because I want to change what's unchangeable. I feel despair because I want to make them love me. I want this pain to stop. I feel hopeless because I want to fix what's broken. So naming the longing actually lets it move. Suppressing it or just keeping it in the mind really keeps it stuck. In Buddhism, it is said that desire and attachment are the root of all suffering. But this does not mean that desire is wrong. It's part of being in a human body. It means attachment is that human nature, and it must be met with compassion, because attachment is kind of like love wearing armor. We attach because we care. We attach because someone mattered. We attach because we believed our survival depended on it. We attach because the dream meant something to us, or because our nervous system is just begging for safety. Letting go does not mean you stop loving. It just means that we stop fighting with reality and we ask the divine for support in releasing that fight. When we say, I refuse to accept what is, we are prolonging our own agony. But when we say, I'm not ready to accept this yet, but I'm willing to try, healing really actually begins. So there is a time to honor your attachment, to acknowledge your desire, to validate the part of you that is terrified to let go. Letting go is simply not forgetting. It's not numbing, and it's not pretending. Letting go and letting God take over is allowing love to evolve into acceptance. Quick personal story about my own lived experience of letting go, or their lack thereof. I went through a breakup many, many years ago that was actually with someone that I didn't feel strongly about, but I didn't listen to myself and allow myself to exit that relationship. And for many reasons I won't go into, I went into a caretaking mode. And when that relationship abruptly ended and I discovered the truth of what had actually been going on during it, which was completely the opposite of what I thought was happening, I became completely obsessed about that situation, the pain that it brought up, my fantasies of revenge and vengeance, the injustice of it all, the fact that I could not let everyone know who this person was and what they had done. I mean, I just resisted and ruminated and was in so much pain. I was not even sure I was going to be able to move on. And I've had other more, I would argue, more substantial real losses in my life. But what was going on for me, that I can look back on and appreciate now, is that to face the grief of what happened in that relationship was really about bringing up old material that had nothing to do with this person in my life and more to do about my childhood and my parents, and specifically my dad. And that pain is something I thought had long ago been processed. But in understanding this betrayal that unfolded after this relationship ended, I was faced with deep material I did not even know existed. And I truly, again, was not sure I was going to make it through that time in my life. And I really actually think, looking back, I needed to hold on because people kept telling me, you have to let this go. You got to get over this. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you need to move on. And obviously, I didn't want to stay in struggle. But it wasn't until I was able to actually be with the grief and not attach a story to how I should be past it or I should be over it, or really that it was even about this person, but that it was about a deep ache in my heart that had never gotten the time, attention, and presence it needed. When I did that, the everyday pain and the difficulty breathing and getting through each day subsided and subsided. And slowly, over about like a year and a half, I began to come back to myself and truly believe that I was going to be okay. which I was not sure was going to be the case for a long time. And any person who has survived betrayal trauma, especially if they had that really early in their life as a young child, and then again later as an adult, will understand what I'm talking about. And obviously this pales in comparison to the kinds of things other people might have experienced. But for me, I could not let go, and that's why I'm telling you this. But when I was with the sensation in my body and I was willing to feel this overwhelming feelings that I did not want to experience, and I made contact with those, and I did get, professional support around that time to be with that material, because it was not working to do it on my own. Then it became clear that the divine's will was actually in my life and was part of that story. Honestly, in large parts, that I could be a better helper and a better healer and more authentically true to myself around relationship, which is really a karmic lifelong journey for me. So I tell that story because underneath difficulty letting go is usually a core belief, like if I let go, I won't be safe, or I can't face the feelings or the uncertainty. Or sometimes if I let go, I'll lose the connection. If I surrender my life to divine's will, I'll lose hope. If I accept this loss, it will destroy me. If I surrender, I'll have nothing left. If I don't fight for this outcome or, seek vengeance or control, life won't protect me. Those beliefs, just like mine, were really ancient. They often come from childhood abandonment, inconsistent caregivers, lots of different kinds of trauma, fear of repeating patterns, losing someone suddenly, maybe growing up without emotional safety, or even past life memories, depending on your spiritual lens. So letting go becomes possible only when we tend to the part of ourselves that feels endangered. Ask yourself, which part of me believes I won't survive this? How old does this part feel? What does it need from me right now? Letting go requires building some safety within, and that safety requires our presence, and presence requires compassion. And now the deepest truth, we cannot surrender alone. Every profound letting go I've ever experienced, every client I've ever sat with involved asking for help beyond the human mind. You can call it spirit, source, life, light, the universe, love, consciousness, your higher power, whatever works for you. But letting go requires turning towards something greater and saying, I cannot carry this. Please help me. Sometimes in really dark moments, I have someplace to whisper the word help. Write your fears down. Write your longing down. Write what you're resisting down. Place your hand over the page and whisper, God, please remove what I cannot release on my own. Show me your will, not mine. Guide me towards peace, even if I don't understand the path, and give me the courage to carry out your will for me. Ask for a sign that you are on the right track. You will get it, I promise. Be specific. Ask for strength. Ask for softness and comfort. Ask for the divine to show you the smallest next right step. In my experience, the divine always responds, often subtly, quietly, or gently, but unmistakably. Because surrender is not about giving up. It's about receiving help and support. It's about trusting that you don't have to figure this out alone. You don't force it. You practice this. You attend to the mind's attachments and you sit with the body's discomfort. You meet yourself with compassion and you acknowledge the part that's terrified. We ask the divine for help to do what we can't do alone. Letting go is not a single moment. It's a series of thousands of loving moments with yourself. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this, you might like this video right here. Until next time, bye for now.